Welcome viewers and listeners to another edition of CHP Talks. I'm here on the Universal Ostrich Farm with Katie Pasitney.
Hi everyone.
Who has been a guest on our program before, and who with her mother and Karen Esperson and David Linsky has been fighting the battle to protect their 399 ostriches. I understand you've lost a few since
There
then.
has been, yes, yeah, absolutely. But they put on Canadian Food Inspection Agency website that there's 330. So we're just going after their number and we're saying, so let's count them.
Yes, exactly. No, you wouldn't think it would be that hard to count ostriches, but if you are the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, apparently it's impossible. You can't do it properly, and you don't trust anyone else to do it either. So, but here we are. You've been in this battle for a long time, Katie.
We've seen all the seasons, do you know that?
Yeah.
We've seen winter, spring, summer, and fall, and now we're approaching winter again.
And you have camped out on your property here. How many? 60 RCMP?
Yeah, we have about, we're down numbers right now.
Okay.
So right now I bet you we're about 30 RCMP, but we have a command center at the provincial sand pit. We have a task force and a canine unit at the gravel pit, and they're prepared for anything. And again, you look at the amount of force that's been put here, and then you wonder, where are these resources being distracted from? Where are we taking them from where we can use them the most?
Now, is there maybe some kind of criminal activity that the RCMP would be better, or looking for lost children, or some kind of function other than protecting the government agents from public opinion? Really,
it really is. And then we have the RCMP. Basically, they're hiding behind the good men and women of the RCMP because they are acting like a security force. So when they're guarding the CFIA from doing their tasks and what they're doing back there, who do we call, right? And that's what I think has probably made us feel probably the most vulnerable, is when you can't call the Humane Society, you can't call the SPC, and you can't call 911. Who do you call?
Yeah.
And we're allowing them to conduct criminal activity behind the yellow line.
Yeah.
And that is animal cruelty, neglect of the animals, and that has been firsthand witnessed and reported.
So the CFIA, which is supposed to be protecting our food, right, is now mistreating your ostriches, and you have no access. You cannot get to those ostriches to provide food, bedding, medicine, whatever that they might need.
You're right, and then here we go. My mom and I were arrested they lied to us and said we could feed them. Okay. All we wanted to do was maintain consistency in the routine, giving them making them comfortable and keeping them calm. Well, a big thing was going to happen in their lives of fear, trauma, and we wanted to keep them calm, and we got told we could feed them, and then we were arrested. So going back to, it's like, are we criminals?
Yeah. No,
we're not criminals. We're trying to feed our animals. But this is playing out all over Canada right now and across the world. We're having issues with the Stamping Out policy. We are not allowed in there. So now my mom and I are not allowed in there because we have an undertaking order on us.
Okay.
But again, where does that line come in? We have an interim stay order. We should be able to maintain the health and welfare of our animals. We are not aggressive. We are not obstructive. All we want to do, if there's a hurt animal, we should be allowed to go in and treat it. We're the experts in the animal, in the ostriches, and they are not. And they're restricting us from doing so. You're right. They should be able to just feeding, watering, and providing shelter for these animals and care.
And
that's it.
And for those who may not know everything about this ostrich episode or projects going on, Canadian Food Inspection Agency wants to kill however many ostriches are left. It was 399, and it's a lower number now because some have died under their care, so-called care. But they want to kill them because there was some disease a year ago, right? Over a year ago.
Almost a year ago, almost.
And the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, which I think they should be inspecting food, but anyway, they're involved with this, and they will not allow these ostriches to be tested I mean, that's the amazing part.
So, and they even say if they test them and they're negative, they're still to die.
Even if they're tested and negative for avian flu, they're still going to be. They still want to kill them. We hope that's not.
Yeah, no, we're fighting. We're not going to let this up. I'll tell you right now. We have a new wave of strength, and this is an agency that's gone rogue.
Yeah.
And they have way too much power. What happens when anybody has too much power?
Yeah.
There's a problem, right?
Yeah.
We don't do well with too much power. And this is what we're seeing here is that there's no oversight. They're allowed to make the rules as they go. They move the goalpost. They cherry pick the policy. They do not follow their own mandates, their code of conduct, nothing. And so again, there's simple questions. Why can't we count our animals? Why can't we do a welfare check on our animals? What are they doing nefariously behind those bales and their tents at night at 2:30 to 4:30 in the morning operating? And why can't we see? They cut our security cameras. They cut our they taped over our cameras and what is going on. Now, police wear body cameras. Why can't Canadian Food Inspection Agency has hundreds of animals in their hands to either dispose of, or why are they not wearing body cameras to make sure that they're following a protocol, that these animals are being handled with care and compassion to their end of days? But we have a killing agency. They're a killing agency. They've never really been held accountable to protect or preserve life.
So just for folks watching, you may notice it isn't the most studio perfect audio recording, but we are in a tent here. It's raining, so you get the noise of that. There's all these volunteers that have showed up to help document and protect what's going on with these wonderful animals. And so we're in the kitchen tent, and there's a generator going. So the audio may not be perfect, but I hope you can hear what we're talking about. Now, I wanted to ask you about this beautiful painting.
Yes.
We're not able to get this close to the real ostriches right now because CFIA has blocked out access. But there's a beautiful painting of an ostrich. Want to tell us about that?
Yes, we have here. So Paul Archer, we have. Look at this stunning painting. Now, who would have ever thought? I would have never thought in a million years that this painting was going to end up at our farm. But this is creative. This is talent. This is passion. And you can tell in this painting, it preserves the essence of the spirit of the animals that we're fighting for. They have heartbeats and they have personality. And when you touch them, there is just a spiritual connection between these prehistoric animals and humans. And that's what we're fighting for. But I always say that the world is watching, and where that came from was when I started saying that in their big, beautiful eyes, it's almost like the world is just looking back at you. Because it's like a globe. And this captures that most perfectly. So thank you from our family and our farm and for this cause. This is where if we all unite and bring our talents together, and we bring our expertise and just even journalism and our podcasts, and if we become united, that this is so important. Division is the oldest tool in the toolbox, and I'll say it over and over again. While we're distracted and fighting each other, the government is getting away with murder, and they're going to get away with murder here if we don't stop them, and if we don't focus in on preserving life. When did Canada not become about protecting life? And that includes you and your family, me and my family, and that's what we're protecting here with the CFIA.
I wanted to ask you one other question. Well, maybe two.
Okay, that's good.
One is about the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court has intervened partially in they stopped the immediate slaughter of these birds, but they're still waiting to hear whether the Supreme Court will hear your case in full. Do you know where that's at right now?
We don't know. We'll be waiting till next week to find out. We'll find out Thursday or Friday next week. If it's on the docket, then we'll find out the next week. So we have about 2 weeks. Now again, millions of our dollars, the taxpayer dollars, are going to enforcing the protection of Canadian Food Inspection Agency over preserving the research and development that we've created here that can help humans and animals, and we could help heal viruses and diseases in the future, and we're wasting our money. So we don't know, but there's been new developments made that Canadian Food Inspection Agency gave a grant out in March 2025 to a Quebec lab to basically create the tests and the items that we were pitching to them in January.
Really.
So, again, you come up with your own conclusions, but this is more nefarious, than we, I think, could have ever imagined. When you're onto something good, you know that you're going to be hit with every roadblock. And this is natural, and I think that's what puts Big Pharma, is most afraid of.
Yeah.
Is that if we could help heal you or your family with something natural alternative, we take away from the money of Big Pharma.
So again, for folks who may not have listened to our first broadcast on this, these animals were specifically being used for research. They're not being raised for meat, that type of thing. They're being raised for research having to do with immunology and developing antibodies. So it's a real tragedy if the CFIA is allowed to get away with a short-sighted, narrow view of what has happened.
Look at how penicillin was made, right? It was discovery versus destruction. He could have threw it away, the petri dish, and threw it away because his experiment was ruined, or he chose to save it and say, what do I have here? And instead we're choosing destruction over discovery. We're choosing to vote for speculation versus science. And this is a slippery slope, because when we start to teach our young children and our families and Canadians that antibodies don't exist, natural immunity isn't a thing, we're really on a slippery slope. And because your body and my body, we have the potential to, our body, we're amazing machines, and we have to give ourselves more credit.
Yeah. Well, this ties back into, of course, what we all went through with the COVID protocols, the narratives, the mandates, and all that stuff.
We just went through it.
Yeah, and it's just an extension of that. And the CFIA happens to be the government agency that's out front, still trying to enforce control over our lives, over our bodies, our farms, our animals. And my other question for you, I heard, I know that RFK Jr., the U.S. Secretary of Health, has intervened, or he
wrote 2 letters.
Voiced his opinion to support your position and to protect these animals. I heard the other day that Donald Trump also had something to say to Mark Carney about this. Any idea of exactly what he said?
No, I don't know the exact words. I do know that they exchanged words during their meeting. And I could only hope that Donald Trump, probably because the Trump administration was one of the only political powers that has really defended our position, saying that we have opportunity here. Don't destroy it. But, and we're grateful for that. It's sad that it's been international political support that has been the most boisterous, when we have the biggest opportunity here to put Canadians on the map for bringing innovative science and technology and stabilizing a crisis that's right at our back door, they say. It's sad that it's been an international support.
And I'll just say on a personal note, we're back in place in the valley of the Arrow Lakes.
You guys met here.
We met across the lake here. My wife and I met over 50 years ago. And I actually, now that I am on this piece of property, I actually did some work on this piece of property way back, and I've borrowed a workhorse from Charlie Flick.
I
know it's hard to believe, but
that is fantastic.
I borrowed a workhorse from the man who had this ranch before the Ostriches came along. So that kind of makes me prehistoric. But anyway, anyway, it's a great joy to be here with you and all your friends, your family.
Friends, I love that. The mainstream media loves to paint us out as far right. We're whatever, but this has nothing to do with right versus left anymore. This is about up versus down, and we need to stand on the right side of history. But you're right, they're friends and family. This isn't a rally, and this isn't a protest. This is friends and family now that have come together, and there's been a lot of people who've healed who are coming in here and sharing their pain and leaving in here feeling like they've connected to something that they believe in. And so that's something we can all share. But I am so happy to have you guys here. You have no idea.
Well, thanks, Katie. God bless you and give you victory in this important challenge that you've taken on.
Yeah,
God bless.
we got this. God is good, and He wrote the story, and He knows the ending. We just need to lead in faith.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
God bless.
you.